Just like Robert Downey Jr. and Daniel Radcliffe are carved in our minds as Iron Man and Harry Potter, Tobey Maguire will always be our original Spider-Man. And while the actor had a less than humble beginning, he now has his own production company. So how did he make this massive jump from rags to riches? Well, the answer is loads of hard work in organizing high-stakes poker games for Hollywood's biggest stars, and some loaded business figures. Shocked? Keep on watching this video to find out. In real life and in the world of fiction, famous Hollywood actor Tobey Maguire stages as a high-stakes poker hustler. Maguire was the guiding force which had brought together a few of the world's highest stakes private poker tournaments in the 2000s. A long list of celebrities and other well-known figures who attended the notorious Tobey Maguire poker games reads like an A-list of the wealthy and famous. The memoir Molly's Game, and then later the movie of the same name, describes the story of Molly Bloom, who organized some of the wealthiest nosebleed stake games in the world. However, Maguire was actually the lead organizer of these games, which the famous actor put together to win millions from his inexperienced competitors. In this video, we will look at Tobey Maguire's poker story, which turned into the subject of many books, a hit movie, and also several six-figure lawsuits. In these private poker games, Tobey Maguire wasn't one of the fish. On the contrary, the actor was the shark looking for blood. Now, since Maguire is not a professional player, it's hard to say what his skill level is and how good Maguire was at the game. However, according to all the rumors and stories, Maguire did more than well for himself in this particular setting. He partnered up with Huston Curtis, a TV producer. Curtis said in his own book, Dollar Hollywood Heist, according to Curtis, the weekly underground game in Los Angeles in 2005 was fake of sorts right from the get-go. There was no cheating, but Toby was a far superior poker player than most of those pros who joined to play, and so it was like taking candy from a baby. According to all accounts, both the actor and Curtis seemed to make a lot of money in these underground poker games over the years. So Molly's Game was more of a Maguire poker game, and he was the mastermind behind it all. Later on, Bloom tries to break off from Maguire and go solo. At one point, Maguire was even hit with a private court case from a group of disappointed investors who got defrauded by one of the game regulars. The famous Hollywood actor continued to lose millions at the table, and when the dust settled and he was convicted, fraud victims turned their eyes to Toby to try and recoup at least some of the money. The private LA games portrayed in Molly's Game book and movie were basically the brainchild of Tobey Maguire. The first of these poker games took place in 2005. That were organized by the actor along with television producer Huston Curtis. Now, Huston Curtis had garnered a reputation as a regular in the underground Los Angeles poker games of the early 2000s. Tobey Maguire wanted to create the games a regular weekly that invited some of Hollywood's biggest stars along with the richest business figures to the table and partnered with Curtis to make that happen. And according to Curtis's book, Dollar Hollywood Heist, the poker game was designed to hustle the well-bankrolled rivalry from the start. The book states that it was Huston Curtis's job to dump chips to the Hollywood whales at the table, allowing Maguire to use his poker skills to win huge sums. The poker games ran every Tuesday at the LA locals, such as the Beverly Hills Four Seasons Hotel, as well as the Viper Room nightclub. And from the years 2005 to 2009, the lineup at these secret poker tournaments included Leonardo Di Caprio, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Rick Salomon, Cirque du Soleil founder Guy Laliberte, Dan Bilzerian, as well as billionaire businessman Kevin Washington, among others. In both books as well as the movie, it is Tobey Maguire who keeps the tournaments going and makes sure the right people are invited. Toby must have had a significant financial incentive to put all this effort into it. So how big of a winner was Maguire in these games? As is typical the case with private games, and there is no official record of the Maguire gambling history, but there are reliable hints and guesstimates. First of all, there were said to be millions on the table every single week, and with stakes being at least $200 or $400, the poker game would have seen several six-figure winners as well as losers in every session. But the question now is, how much of that money ended up in Maguire's poker bankroll? Well, according to Huston Curtis, Tobey Maguire's actual partner in setting up the game, Maguire could have easily won around $30 to $40 million in a few years. This number is quite impressive, even though it is impossible to verify it. But the accounts from others who took part in the game definitely corroborate the story that Tobey Maguire was the big winner, which is the main reason he became the main target of that civil lawsuit later on. Moreover, the Tobey Maguire poker game collected many high-profile players, and not all of them were high-profile actors. Brad Ruderman was a hedge fund manager who usually frequented the infamous yet secret Toby Maguire poker game. Allegedly, Brad Ruderman lost millions over his time spent at the tables, with some of the money going to Toby Maguire's pocket as well. However, for the poker players, it turned out that Brad Ruderman was running a Ponzi scheme. And as soon as the FBI came knocking, everything quickly fell apart. During the FBI investigation, the private poker game was also mentioned as Ruderman apparently lost up to $25 million of his investors' money on the green felt. Moreover, in a bid to try and recollect at least some of the money, many investors filed private suits against Toby Maguire, and many others who frequented the game, which included Gabe Kaplan, Dan Bilzerian, Nick Cassavetes, and how can we forget Molly Bloom? But Toby was then sued for a staggering amount of over $300,000, which is another signal now that he was one of, and if not the biggest, winners in the game. And then eventually most of the poker players who were sued ended up settling a deal and then paying a fraction of the original starting amount. Toby Maguire's settlement was for $80,000. The movie as well as the memoir may be entitled Molly's Game, but it seems that Toby Maguire was the moving force behind this private game that's become anything but private after all the public attention. Also, Bloom and Maguire had different motives for keeping the game going. For Bloom, it was a source of income. And as long as the poker game was going and all the players were happy, she did not care who won or lost. Whoever won would probably leave more generous tips at the night's end. Maguire's interest in running the poker game was very different. The famous actor managed to set himself up with a lineup with virtually infinite bankrolls, however very little poker knowledge. For any poker player, this describes the dream scenario. Unfortunately, some of the interesting details will probably remain a secret for years to come. However, when the time is right, maybe Toby will write his own memoir, and we will soon get to hear the story of the Maguire-Molly game from a completely different perspective. After all, who does not love a good gossip story which involves incredibly big stakes, table banter, and all the drama which is mixed in it? What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments, and if you liked today's video, then make sure to leave a thumbs up, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell icon to be always updated with the most exciting content as soon as it's uploaded. Thanks for watching, see you again soon in another video.